tag. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There you go.
We're gonna move him over some. You can't see him. Yeah, we got you now. Make sure we get you in there. Maybe we need to speak up a little bit. Just give me a moment, everybody. We're trying to get everything adjusted in here. See if we can put up a little bit more.
How we looking?
You there? And I'm here. Attacking your people.
I'm on it.
Okay, there we go. Might look at my phone for comments. Okay, we can go ahead and start now. Welcome, welcome everyone. This is the Unspoken Heart Discussion Hour, and this is Spicy Grace speaking to you right now. I want to thank everybody that attended earlier this morning. I had to get up like 5 o'clock in order to get ready to be on that show to give a farewell to KCHL Dre Coop. I really thank you for being on a radio show. We had a lot of fun. Thank y'all so much. Today we have a special guest for y'all. And as y'all know already, the topic, I'm in love with two people. Is that possible? Well, we'll find out during our discussion because I found out I got a little comedian on my hands with a little sarcasm. So I got somebody that actually challenged with.
Let's go.
So first, I'm going to give my announcements. As y'all already seen, we have a flyer up trying to raise money for the publishing of the Unspoken Heart 2 book. You look on the flyer, you'll see the Cash App identification. If you find it in your heart to donate, just Cash App it over, and we'll try to get that money in to try to get the part 2 published so that we can get on with the memoirs. Also, August 21st, Michael Gray's production at 7:30 at the Civic Center, 226 North Hackberry. They be having a live play called Cries of a Wounded Soul. This is one thing you do not want to miss. I know you can purchase tickets. You can go on Michael Gray's page and you can see some things on there where he'll tell you where to go get the tickets from. Okay. If at any time during the discussion you have any questions or comments that you want to state, just give us a call here at 512-668-2814. That's 512-668-2814. Now, what we have is just not Mr. Terence Baker Sr., but we have what they call Sin City.
All day.
And that's SYN, not SIN, because I had a lot of questions about that, like sin. I'm like, no, it's not about what he committed. It's about his name.
Oh, shots fired. Shots fired.
Told you we got some sarcasm going on here today. How we doing today?
Doing good, Miss Spicer.
Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Loving having you here for the first time. Seeing you on Facebook. I know we've been chatting back and forth. Been a good time. Got to sense some of your humor there for a minute. So I had a lot of fun there. We both was excited about being here. So from what I researched, you moved here from St. Louis.
I did.
What part of St. Louis?
Actually, I grew up in U City.
Okay.
I was born and raised in St. Louis, grew up in U City.
Okay, I've never been there. Where is it? What is it like? Is it like San Antonio?
No, it's not quite like San Antonio.
I don't think nothing like San Antonio.
U City is a smaller municipality of St. Louis. You got St. Louis City and St. Louis County.
Right.
So U City is where most people started getting the name out.
Right.
U City's been around for a long time. Like my brothers, they all graduated U City, and then a lot of our friends and family and things like that. But
Right.
like most people recognize it as like Nellyville. Well, you know, St. Lunatics came out of U City, and a lot of hip hop artists that were in that day and age. So,
yeah, trying to follow up. Thank y'all for tuning in. I really appreciate y'all. Trying to see the comments. Can I see the comments way over there? I know I got glasses on, but I still can't see.
Dre Coops, he shot on in.
Okay.
We see you, brother.
Thank you, Dre. Thank you for coming on in. I'll take a moment in a minute. Okay, I see you. I see you. Okay. You worked in the security industry as a bodyguard through a connection by the name of
Big Dre.
Big Dre,
the bodyguard.
Now, who is Big Dre?
Big Dre is a lot of people. So my first security detail that I had, I was working with a company where he's now the Chief Thorpe.
Right.
And my first assignment, I ended up having a nightclub that we were working and doing a security detail. And unfortunately, for somebody that didn't go good that night. So
Uh-oh.
my skills showed a little bit, and Big Dre is probably 2 feet taller than I am, and was like, "Man, who is this little dude? This little 5'9", 170-pound dude." And like I handled business, and me and him actually befriended each other, and that's been my homeboy ever since. Much love, Big Dre, the bodyguard. Everybody in San Antonio know who he is.
Uh-oh, uh-oh. Okay. Also, if I'm not getting it mistaken, you also was a bodyguard for Kodak Black,
That's correct.
the Amigos at Club Rio.
That's correct.
Could you tell us what other well-known people, celebrities that you was a bodyguard for?
Oh man, I done been on security details from Kodak Black. I've been on the Migos detail when they were here, Lil Fizz. I was on the detail that had Black China. I had J. Cole. I mean, the list just go on and on. It's a lot of people I got connected with within doing the industry.
Okay,
Most
sounds
of
good.
which, again, Big Dre called
Right.
Baker. I need you. I need you to do X, Y, and Z. All right, fam, I'm there.
Because I seen you with your security outfit on, and you was standing next to what Chris Brown,
Yeah,
Little
yeah.
Wayne, and who are the other ones?
I had Chris Brown, Lil Wayne, my homeboy Joker from the Deck, St. Louis, Missouri artist. He signed the DTP back in the day.
Okay,
I've had, oh man, it's a
it's a
lot.
lot.
It's a lot. I'm getting too old.
Did you keep pictures of all of
I
them though
did.
for me?
I
Oh,
did.
that's a good memory. That's a good memory. Okay, you also stressed that you have an artistic eye on Facebook.
Correct.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
SYN City, or it's actually the Facebook page, is SYN's Artistic Eye.
Okay.
Me and who you know as Miss Lovely, Miss Monica
Yes.
Russell. She actually does a lot of painting, acrylic, and things like that, and so do I. We do a lot of drawing and we do a lot
Okay.
of painting, and then we advertise a lot of it online. And if it's somebody that's requesting to get something painted, a certain picture, portrait, landscape, things like that, we can take care of that. You know, it didn't start off being something that was financial. It started off like, okay, we're gonna try something new together and see if how we like it. And we ended up
Okay.
doing it. And man, next thing you know, I was in oil and acrylic.
Mm. I did that one time, and I mean, I'm an artist myself. I haven't drew anything I say since 2000. I think since my last baby, and he's 14 now. And I mean, I would look at a picture or look at a person and just start drawing, but I had to have a certain mood.
Oh yeah. Oh
I had
yeah.
to get a certain mood because just like one time I seen this Jet magazine. I don't even know if they still out.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you remember Jet?
I remember Jet. Unfortunately, that's a different portion of my name. I got to looking at, that's everybody wants to see page 44, Beauty of the Week. Lamonte McLemore. Shout out.
Yeah, because just looking at you, I mean, it reminded me of this page. I see I was in my dad's restroom, and that's where he'll keep all his Jet magazines. And so I was looking at this one, and it's like this one I couldn't get my eye off. And he had these sunshades on, and he was bald head. And that's why I looked at you. It reminded me of that picture I drew, and it looked exactly like him. But I mean, it's been years. I had tried to find where I was going to take my artistic, gift to. But I mean, it went from drawing, and then it went into creating cakes, and now I'm here writing books and have my own podcast. And so you never know where your gift leads you.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
but I wish you luck in that. I'm gonna give out some shout outs that's on it. Thank you, Cedric Bellamy and Dre Coop, for tuning in. I really appreciate you. Thank you, Ray Sorrell. We also have Rosalie Davis. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Uh-oh.
Uh-huh. Glow Armor. Hi, sweetie. How you doing? Charles William, Ashley K. Evans, Paz Michael, Steve, and Emily Bell. Thank y'all for tuning in today. As I said, we have a title to discuss, which is pertaining to I'm in love with two people. Is it possible? We will find out in just a second as we'll get to know Mr. Sin City himself a little bit better. So also you was a fugitive recovery for bail bondsman in Houston, Texas.
Correct. I did bail and fugitive recovery for a few years. Most of, unfortunately, the bail jumps we had from the bondsmen, we would get the files, and a lot of these folks was actually in Houston or Dallas Fort Worth.
So did you ever? I mean, because we watch it on TV and everything. I'm gonna ask a question because I know I used to look at them all the
I
time.
know where you're going.
Especially, I can't remember the main one. There was this one black lady, real heavy set, but she was hard, and she was going after them as well, and even had to fight them because people would try to stand up to them. Have you ever been faced with anything close to that?
I have. It's actually the televised version that you see of that industry
Mm-hmm.
is a little cleaner than what actually happens.
Okay.
A
Okay.
lot cleaner. A lot of the times we make phone calls to local law enforcement, let them know, hey, this is what's going on. This
Right.
person is a X, Y, and Z. We confirm everything, and
Mm-hmm.
then we get out there and do what we got to do. A lot of the times, the threat is real. It's
Okay.
you really got to get ready because you mess around and somebody don't want to go. They ran
Right.
for a reason, so you don't know what you're gonna walk into in the door.
Yeah. So it's almost like putting your life on the line as well.
It is. It
Do you
is.
miss it sometimes?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I
Think
mean,
about it a lot.
I still get phone calls, nine days to do a couple of things here and there if it's not worthwhile. But the adrenaline alone is like,
Mm.
yo, I could do this for a long time. I
Right.
mean, but
Right.
things run out sometimes. So
Yeah.
you got to be aware of that too. It's like you take a chance, but are you really happy what you're doing? And
Hmm.
if you are, if something does happen, did you go out of there happy? And
Right.
see, for me doing that kind of work, I'm an educator now, but me doing that kind of work, yeah, it ain't nothing like it. You never know what you're
Mm.
gonna run into or what you're gonna expect. So
Yeah. Well, I've never been in that field or interested in that field. I think the closest I came is the past fights I used to have. That's about it. We went. We would go run somebody down. Okay, what you say? Okay, but also you appeared on Street Legion Radio with host Legacy City Cedric Bellamy.
shout out, shout out.
Shout out to Cedric
You already know what it is.
and the beautiful artist Lala Marie. What was that experience like for you to be there in the midst of them two?
Actually, it was indescribable. So we ended up getting ready to go to this jazz and poetry night.
Okay.
So me, I'm a jazz lover. I love listening to a lot of jazz and things
Okay.
like that. And it was a poetry night, so it was all. I mean, Lovely said, "Hey, we got this on the calendar, and the event got canceled like twice.
Yeah.
And finally, it was going through, and it was at the Breathe Lounge. And finally, it was going through, and we slid in, and man, we sit in front row, and to be able to see him with his comedic personality and handling
Yes.
business, and he had me cracking up laughing on the front row. I mean, it was a good wild night, but the live band, the whole 9 yards, and then we saw Lala Marie perform, and I got in the studio shortly after. We was
Mm-hmm.
in the lab, and Said was showing me around and showing us things. And we were talking about the Jay Shanique's Poetry Corner at the time with the
Okay.
podcast. And he got to showing me everything, and he started playing music. And I'm like, who was that? And he's like, you remember we were at the thing, she had on the long orange boots. And wait a
Mm.
minute. Oh, that's old girl that was singing.
She has
Oh
a
man,
beautiful voice.
when he got
Beautiful.
done mixing and mastering that, man, I was like, whoa. And to this day, everybody, since we done that was a couple weeks ago,
Mm.
everybody's like, well, when is that song coming out? And hey, look, you got to reach out to Legacy City.
Right, right. Gotta go to the head. Okay. In the music industry, as a manager, which I found out you was in
At some point,
at
correct.
some point, producer and artist. Tell us a little bit about that.
It was hard.
Mm.
I was a member of a group back in the day, which members are still now still doing it. It was all family. It was four of us.
Mm-hmm.
It was me, Antoine, better known now as he probably gonna be like, man, I'm be sharing my government. But it's my little cousin T Dub. Oh, he's
Okay.
all over the internet and YouTube and one of the
Okay.
best battle rappers to ever do it. We ended up in a group, a four-man group called Down and Dirty back in the day in the 90s,
Okay.
all up into the 2000s. And to be able to do that, we got ended up doing, touring, and we had a great manager who was taking us all over the place outside of St. Louis to places we had never been before and experiencing our first shows and things like that. And then in the process of doing that, we met a younger group
Mm-hmm.
called TMS back in the day, which was
Okay.
Too Much Swag.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's when, swag was like the
Mm.
key word to
Yes.
have.
Yes.
So they named themselves TMS, Too Much Swag. And that was YV and Red. And they turned around and they had production from another very good friend of mine, which was SYN from Bang 'Em Out Productions,
Okay.
one of the coldest producers to ever do it. So
Right.
he was producing a lot of our music back then and showed me my way around the lab and VIP studios and stuff. So
Okay.
that's how we ended up getting into it. And it kind of went to a management type of field because we knew how to navigate around because we had run into the problems already. So we know, okay, you don't want to go left right here, you want to go right.
Right.
So we were trying to educate them on it as well and try to watch their career and try to get them off the ground and things like that.
Okay, that was very interesting. Very interesting. Now, I know in our conversation you have mentioned that you lived a very private
I
life.
did.
Was that due to because you was the bounty hunter? Well, I don't know bounty hunter, but saying the wrong description. But you the recovery for Bell's Bowman and being the bodyguard and everything. Was that due to all that?
It was. A lot of it was due to the fact that we started getting jumps, is what we were calling them.
Mm-hmm.
And we started getting bail jumps to where the dollar amount was increasing.
Okay.
And again, if you running on a 50, 100, $200,000 bond, you don't want to get caught.
Right.
And even when I did it, like I said, when we had to track somebody,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't try to track you. I
Mm-hmm.
skipped trace and tried to track the person I saw you most with.
Right.
And if I found them, I found you.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you thinking you keeping away from everybody else except this one person, which happened to be maybe your girlfriend or your
Mm-hmm.
cousin that you're real close to and things like that. And it would end up being a hang up. I mean, social media,
Yeah.
it'll get you trapped up.
Yeah, because a lot of people they snitch on themselves
Oh yeah.
nowadays. All you gotta do is go to their page, they either holding up the money or saying what's up or telling what they did. I mean, they
Not
might as well
knowing,
just turn themselves in.
yeah, not knowing that it says Ray J's liquor store right behind them, and you live, and you're like, man, it's 6 miles from here. And
Right,
then
right.
wonder why they pull up on you.
Exactly. Like, how did y'all find me? Okay, from what we discussed, you was raised by a single father
I
in the
was.
home. What was it like having a single father? Plus, he was part of the Marines.
He was.
So, what was that structure like?
That structure was solid. It was firm.
Mm.
It was a lot of love in the house, but in ways of hardcore. It
Right,
made me the type of man that I am today. I won't say that my father was abusive or anything like that because
right,
it was never that.
mm,
But he wanted me to go left and not go right.
right.
And to this day, I'm 42 years old. I'm still calling him like, you was right. And I
Mm.
hate to suck that up and that prideful side because
Been
I
there, been
I
there.
thought I knew it all. And
Right.
every off day, and I gave him a run for his money. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'll tell you, I gave him hell
Mm-hmm.
because I'm the youngest, I'm the baby boy, and I had a little leeway here and there,
Mm-hmm.
but when he meant business, he meant business.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also because he was building and uplifting us to be strong men. And back in that day, it take a lot for a man to take his kids back in the 70s and
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, these are my boys. I'm
Right.
going to raise them no matter what you're doing. This is what has to be done. And that's what he did.
Especially being part of the military.
Oh, yeah.
I
And
know
back,
that had to be hard for him. And I mean, I have all respect for him, not just for the service that he provided for his country, but also for his children.
yeah, he
Because, you don't find too many fathers that step up to that plate and say, I'll raise him myself.
all day, especially not back then. It was so
Mm-hmm.
easy for a father. Statistics and research show even back then, you'd have a father that'll just walk away,
Right.
like, and our youth are being raised the same kind of way where the father's like, hey, I helped make this child, but I'm out. You deal with it.
Right.
But he didn't do that. He gave up his whole lifestyle for us.
Mm.
And, he could have gone on to do bigger and better things. And he's had his share of different businesses and entrepreneurships and things like that. But he did a couple of stints in Nam and things like that. So,
Wow.
I mean, he actually was a hero in very, very important aspects of certain things. Like a lot of people read history and they see Operation Hastings.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? He was in Operation Hastings.
Wow.
So the trials and tribulations that he has, he's on Jay Shanique's Poetry Corner too, writing a lot of poetry, and it's just an outlet. And if you jump online and read some of his poems, you're like, whoa, and he's
Mm.
telling his story. So I always be grateful and respect him for that because even at this day and age now, I don't necessarily think I know it all anymore.
Right.
I've matured a great deal, but I'm
Right.
not having a one-way conversation anymore. It's a two-way to where I'm receiving information and I'm giving out information. Because if you think you know it all the time, then guess what? You lost already because you
Mm.
can't take nothing else
Mm.
in.
Well, they had that saying like father, like son. So, being a father yourself, do you see yourself doing some of the techniques that your dad did in raising you?
I do. I do. I see a lot of the same similarities and more so with the strict firmness, the
Mm.
discipline, but at the same time, a lot of the education.
Right.
Like I've gone down this road. His favorite quotes, and I'll never forget it. Never forget it
Mm.
was I've been your age before. You ain't never been mine. And I never understood what that meant like that. But
Mm,
now I find myself telling my kids the same thing. Hey,
mm,
look, man, I done been your age before. You've never been mine. So I've traveled that road you traveling. I'm telling you to go left. You keep wanting to go right,
mm-hmm,
and here's gonna be what the end result. And my oldest son, 21,
mm,
and to this day, he doing the same thing I did. Yeah, hey, Pop, you was right. Yeah, well,
mm.
I told you.
Right, right. They don't find out till it's too late. I want to say thank you, AC Turner, Christina Fowler. Hey, baby, how you doing? And Trevor Allaby, Gregory Jackson, Calvin C. Young, Yole, my cousin. Hey, and Emily Fillmore. Thank y'all for tuning in. Uh, we're gonna start getting into the topic now.
Uh-oh.
Now we're gonna get into the nitty gritty. For the ones that just tuning in, the topic for today is I'm in love with two people. Is it possible? Now, before getting into whether it's possible to be in love with two people at the same time, it's important to define what being in love means. So, in your own way, your own words, tell us what does it mean to actually be in love?
For me, my definition of it, if you're actually in love, this person is on your thoughts. Yeah,
Mm,
excuse me, your thoughts. They on your mind day and night. You
right.
can't stop. You're doing the old school, what do you call it? The phone call where you hang up. No, you hang up. No,
Mm-hmm.
you hang up. And you end up falling asleep on the phone.
Right.
You get that feeling in your stomach, that turning,
Mm-hmm.
and this person is just become part of your every being. Your essence is
Right.
connected to this person.
Right.
And when it's that way, that's a hard thing to deal with.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people do tend to get being in love misconstrued with, and I hate to put it like this, is sexual love,
Lust,
lust,
infatuation.
and they take that and say, "Oh, I'm in love with him," or "I'm in love with her." That's why sometimes I'm not telling everybody what to do. It's time to just find the person out first to see if that character, that mindset, and that walk is what you're going to be in love with, and then bring in the bedroom scene. Because
I
if you
agree.
you cannot separate the two, then you're going to be lost. Then when you get caught into trapped into something, then you're like, well, dang, I didn't know he was like this. I
Oh
didn't know
yeah.
she was like this.
You didn't pay attention to the signs.
Exactly. And sometimes the signs are already there, but we just like so blinded, you know. So taking the difference between being in love or having a crush, which we say also lust, on any account, being in love with two people simultaneously is certainly not the most common thing because it requires a depth of feeling and an investment in romantic relationship that can be difficult for most people to maintain for the one or is it more than one person at a time. Is it possible to be in love with two people at the same time?
Of course it is. Of course it
Could you
is.
explain that to us?
No, I don't really want to, but yeah.
Yeah, he gonna explain it all right.
Yeah, it's very possible, because you could have that person that you feel like that's your end all be all. That's the one.
Mm,
There's nothing wrong. There's no fighting, no argument. It's a
mm,
healthy relationship.
mm.
Everything is wonderful, and everything is wonderfully made with both of you. But then, guess what? You're working with the same identical thing.
Right.
And if you end up striking up some type of friendship or things like that, you start to find out that person is just like my man, or that person
Mm,
is just like my lady.
mm,
And you're attracted to the similarity. And once you get attracted to that type of similarity,
mm.
they have a phrase where, the heart wants what the heart wants.
Right.
Well, people ain't checking that. They like finding so much similarity that it's two people of the same identical natures and backgrounds and emotions and the way they present themselves and their mentalities and maturity. And then you're like, oh wait, hold up. This person, like, this is identical to what I have at home.
Right.
And you're trying to avoid that, but
Mm,
most people are not, because now you've befriended this person.
right.
And once y'all became friends because you're just alike, just
Mm,
like you and whoever your mate is,
right.
guess what? Now you done put yourself in a manipulating situation.
Exactly. I know it reminds me when I hear that, it reminds me because my grandmother educated me on a lot of things. Some things I didn't like the way she put it because it's like, oh, big mama coming from you. But I mean, it was like just like she said, be careful who you sleep with because who you sleep with, you're picking up. they aura. You picking up that character. But at the same time, I could never forget where she says, "There's one thing about a person: you can't juggle two people at one time. You're
Ooh.
gonna slack somewhere. Whether you're gonna lose attention here and get more attention there, you're gonna show more affection here, and you're gonna lose affection there. So
Facts.
that always kept in my mind about that when she spoke that to me. So I was like, no, that can't be possible unless you're cheating, or unless you're at work and then you laughing and talking, going on breaks with a person. Especially whether you know it or not, overnight shifts. That's a high rate right there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
you know
Military too.
Military, that's
Military
number
too.
one right there. Because I
Military
know
too.
when I was not in the military, but I was a military brat and I was an ex-dependent wife,
Mm.
and I seen so much go on. you know Me personally, I was more into my child. I only had one at the time, but I seen a lot of the women, they would just go to the barracks as soon as they went off to the field, or as soon as they had what they call it, when they stayed 24 hours
Oh
on
yeah.
duty,
Yeah.
staff duty or something like that. You see a lot. And there's one, she used to be associate of mine, and it used to disgust me because a lot of women say, I want a good man. But at the same time, soon as your husband come into from work, you got a babysitting job. He's sitting with the kids that you supposed to be babysitting, which he doesn't have a problem with. He's helping you cook, clean, fold clothes, everything. I witnessed this. But then you leave these kids you supposed to be babysitting
Mm.
with him to go be with another man in the barracks.
Mm.
I have a problem with that.
Or hanging out at the NCO club.
There you go. That was like the thing back then.
Church.
Yes. So I know for the longest I was always stuck in the mindset to where I was like, there's no way that you could be in love with two people. But you really gotta research and see different situations, how a person can actually get caught up into something like that. And it is possible.
Oh yeah.
It is
Oh yeah.
possible. And I ended up finding that out when I was researching. I was like, wow, I never thought about that. I never been in that situation, but I could see it happening. Especially when you're at home and she nagging all the time, and then this other woman is doing nothing but complimenting you and having your back, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna be over here. But then I still love this woman because she's always been there for me. So you can get yourself caught up that way as well.
Oh yeah. But see, that's where it boils down to being in certain kinds of relationships. It's
Hmm.
only it's only and this is just my opinion. It's not the opinion of the unspoken heart or anything like that. It's
Hmm.
just my opinion. There's only two types of men
Right.
that cheat. Either you really do have problems at home, it's a toxic relationship, and
Hmm.
somebody else is providing services that home is not providing for you,
Right.
but you don't want to let go because you got things invested, you got
Right.
children, houses, cars,
Money.
it's cheaper to keep her.
Hmm.
You got that situation, but then you got those that are just greedy.
Yeah.
They put themselves in a manipulating situation,
Hmm.
such as the music industry and things like that. A lot of this stuff happens
Oh
where
yeah.
you go out on tour, your girl is at home and things like that, and then it's falling out of the sky for you
Yes.
all
Yes.
over the place until you end up messing around and getting one pregnant. Well,
Right.
you didn't know you had one in Seattle, you got one in New York, you got
Hmm.
one in North Carolina, and
You have one
in
in
my
every area
right,
code.
right,
It's sad to be that way because also I can see this happening to where you can be love one person but being in love with another one, and more or less it's like what this person have done for you. You love her for that reason, but
exactly,
then you have this other woman because you feel like, okay, this person supplies my needs more than this person do. This person put up more of me than this person would. This person
exactly.
requires too much of me, and this person is not requiring nothing of me.
One got you on a pedestal and high,
Exactly.
yeah, and then one got you. But see, the one that has you up there that's requiring everything, they're trying to push you, but the way that they're pushing you is not necessarily the way that it's supposed to go, because they're
Hmm.
pushing you away instead of elevating you and motivating you to be what they know your potential is. Then you got
Right.
the one that don't care what you do, long as you come through 3 4 times a week, you
Hmm.
good,
Hmm.
and you're caught in between the two,
Exactly.
and that's a dangerous situation.
Yeah. We had Calvin C. Young Jr. I guess he was speaking on the part where you saying your dad was a single father.
Hmm.
He said, I raised three kids, so I understand. And we also have Dornice Williams, Miss Dora. She
What's going
says,
on,
I
Miss
don't,
Dora?
she said, I don't think it's possible.
Ooh.
So keep watching. Keep watching.
I can tell you personally, Miss Doris, it's very possible. I mean, it happened to me many years ago. Let me elaborate on that.
Yeah.
Many years ago, but it's very possible. And like one of my closest friends I've had since childhood, growing up in U City, my
Mhm.
homeboy Mike Bean, he chimed in. Shouts out to you, Mike. He said you definitely can be in love with two people, and it's very possible. And
Mhm.
I mean, we've shared these stories back in that type of day and that type of childhood.
Right.
And even with us back then, we knew what it meant to, unfortunately, I'm gonna put it this way, but I'm gonna keep it PG. We knew what it meant to have certain girls on hit lists, as we call it. Or you got 5 or 6 of your homeboys and she won't talk to you. Well, the other one tried to holler at her.
Hmm.
It's very possible though that you do find something that young and that mature of an age,
Hmm.
and you really do wholeheartedly feel down in your spirit that you are in love with this person, and then
Right.
find out there's another girl you go to school with that's the same identical thing
Hmm.
that wouldn't give you the time of day, and
Right.
now she will, and you're trying to juggle the two. Yes, in a manner of speaking, you are cheating. You really are.
Let me see here. It'll pop up on the screen.
Hmm.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
But it's hard to maintain and juggle that
Both
many
of them.
hats. Like you
Yes.
mentioned before, whether it's a loss of affection here, whether it's a loss of time, or it's a loss of commitment, you're gonna slack somewhere. It's just how soon is the person that you don't want to see that going to notice it.
Exactly. I'm gonna ask the ones that are inboxing me if you will please hold your messages until we finish the show. Your screen keeps popping up. I will get back to you as soon as we're done. But thank you for thinking about me anyway. So it's possible to develop intense feelings for two people without ever actually dating or being in a couple with either. But in the majority of cases, that's probably a strong crush masquerading as love rather than the real thing. Can you be in love with someone while already in a relationship?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Again, that's one of them situations where you're in a relationship, whether it be you are just content with what's going on, or whether you're actually, wholeheartedly 10 toes down in the situation.
Right.
If you run across something that catches your eye of
Mhm.
an attraction, because most attraction is a physical,
Right.
you might notice some eyes or you might notice her lips. But when
Mhm.
she opens her mouth and start talking, then now you're infatuated with the intelligence and the way
Mhm.
she speaks and personifies
Sometimes.
herself. Well, sometimes,
Yeah, because
sometimes.
I know some females where, me and my homeboys talking like she's really a beautiful person. But when she opened that mouth,
I've had that problem too, where it's probably the most beautiful model type thing that you were used to sociologically looking at and seeing,
right.
to where when they open their mouth, you so bougie
Yeah.
that it's like you disgust me. Like,
Well, not just only bougie, but a lot of men are not attracted to a woman that their mouth is just full with toiletries. And I'm gonna put it like that. There's a lot of women don't understand that. When a good man really want a woman, they want a woman that know how to uphold herself and talk with intelligence,
exactly.
not of ignorance. Because anytime you got every word out your mouth is a profanity, or you talking in when say it, my nigga, this and that. Don't no real man want to hear that.
Ghetto.
It doesn't make sense because, like I tell people, they shocked when they find out that I was born in East Terry. But then
Ooh.
they're like, well, we don't sense it until you get mad. And I'm like, well, my thing is that I know when to hold it down, but it's all in growth. When I decided, okay, I'm gonna fight to keep my kids out of the hood because that's where I was born at. I wanted better for my kids,
Exactly.
but also wanting better for them is also changing the way you think, the way you talk, the way you stand, the way you dress.
See, that's what a lot of people don't understand that, and unfortunately, I do know people that personally that it's the same way. When I moved here,
Mm-hmm.
it was to get a different start and a different understanding, a different level of maturity, and a elevated mental state. If you don't change your mindset, but you change the environment, you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have the same problems you ran into. All you did was
Right.
just move down the street,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna attract the same thing because you didn't change your mindset.
Right.
If you want to change the circumstance, it starts with you. You have to
Mm-hmm.
change your mindset. So if you continue to look for the things that you already experienced and you wanted to continue to be involved in, San Antonio for me was a place where I came here and I found out quickly, oh, this is where you go when you want to slow down. But if I want to be like St. Louis was,
Right.
then I got to go to Houston. I got to go to Dallas Fort Worth. Well, guess what? I'm in San Antonio because I wanted to slow down. I'm tired of looking over my shoulder. I'm
Right.
tired of running into, you know, non-hospitality. I walk down these streets and it's a total stranger. Hey, good morning. How you doing? I'm doing fine, sir. How are you? You know, I walk down the street in St. Louis. Hey, what's up, dog? Hey, what's up? You know me? You know, it's a problem. They got their hand on their waist. And
yeah, because you got to watch that in New York too. I know she
man,
probably on here, my New Yorker, because I talk about it all the time. She has that Bronx accent. She says she don't, because she's been in San Antonio. We've been friends for, I'm going to say, over 10 years now. But it's like when you hear her talk and when she's talking fast or she has like an emphasis or something, you still can hear that Bronx in her, you know. So, but, you know, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Jay Wright, thank you for watching. DJ Vino in the house. Thank you for tuning in. Jess Estrada, hey baby. Jasmine Jazzy, the melody of all voices. Marlene Barnes Smith, hello. Aunt Danetta, she's my auntie. I'm gonna tell y'all straight up, but to y'all, she's the Netta travel agent Johnson, and she's the one to make this beautiful logo cut for me. Thank you. It is Duran Brown that bought it for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna need one of those.
Oh yeah, but isn't that nice though?
Yeah,
She
I'm
did
gonna
a
need one of
fabulous
those.
job on that.
And see, I left my cup in the car because I knew I had the red
Well,
in
I'm
here.
sipping out of here, but I got to show off my auntie's work, you know.
Auntie, I want a cup. You heard it firsthand.
Yeah, she's real good. She's done a lot. You go on her page, you'll see a lot of work she's done. Beautiful. Look like you just bought it out the store. I love it. Hello, Tiffany Moulton, which I call Red. Love you, baby. Michael Best, thank you for tuning in. Uncle Hubbard, Bubba David Johnson.
I saw him earlier.
Yes, that's my unc. The topic he asked, "What's the topic?" The topic today is, "I'm in love with two people. Is it possible?"
I know he gonna chime in on that because I saw him on the radio earlier when we was doing the send off for Dre Coop.
My uncle's a comedian too. I'm telling you.
Oh Lord.
He could have you in stitches, but he's a very wise man to where, you know, you can sit down and talk to him, and whether you like it or not, he's gonna tell you what's real. But what he's telling you is out of love because he wants you to be better. You know, he's that warning before destruction.
See, that's like the thing that I was talking about with my father earlier. Like, yeah, he was a United States Marine, Lance Corporal, and I mean, he got a heck of a track record as far as the Marine Corps, Purple Heart, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
But he ended up going into the United States Postal Service, and that's where he retired out from.
USPS right here in the house.
What you know about that?
Yeah, I'm a mail handler. Yes, I am.
But it was crazy because he was the quote unquote mailman in our neighborhood.
So he was a carrier.
He was a letter carrier.
Oh,
500 some houses
I don't see
a
how
day.
they did it.
But you know something? He did it.
Yeah.
And still made sure it was food on the table, clothes on our back, help with homework, stuff like that. But when it came down to actually physically having like off days, and yeah, I'm gonna do it, Pop. I'm gonna shout it out there because I know you're watching. When it comes out to that, he'll tell you, I gave him hell because every off day he was at the school for something.
Right.
Well, there was a reason for that. You know, it's almost like the Frankenstein syndrome. You created a monster.
Right.
So I used to come home and I went to Hawthorne Elementary. Yes, I had a bully. And this bully would like pick on me. I never forget his name. It was Andrew. And I came home a couple of times crying and got picked on. And my father had one of them one-on-one man conversations with me. Well, when we got done with that conversation, there was no more fear. I didn't fear this bully because guess what? I'm scared of him more than I am you.
Right.
So the next time I saw him, it wasn't even a conversation. I just fired off. So from there on, he was up to the school because I was fighting. I was suspended. I was this. I was that because I never gave nobody an opportunity anymore to have that much control over me. Right. But it turned me into a person that became like violent with anger to the point to where I wasn't finna listen to you do all this. Right. Back in the day, how we grew up, I'm taking your fronts out. You keep talking.
that remind me of my son, you know, rest in peace, Kayvon. But I mean, it was like we stayed in Converse in Northampton. And I had a home child care, licensed child care. And he came in from school off the bus one time, crying, and he didn't want to say what had happened. Well, I had one of the kids that I kept. She was the eyewitness news. She reported everything to Ms. Gray.
Snitch.
You heard that, Alicia?
Snitch.
But um, she was like, "This is what happened. This is what happened." I said, "Really?" I said, "Hey, what you crying for?" And he's like, "I said I don't want to hear it." I said, "You need to defend yourself." You know. So the next time he came in, I bought him. That's when J.C. Penney's was really, really nice because they had the sports jets. You know how you say the jumpsuits and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I had bought him the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh.
That wasn't something cheap.
That's when they was jacking for starter jackets.
Yes.
Yeah, I
And
remember
so
them
he had
days.
the jacket, the pants to match. I dressed my boys. I love dressing my boys. And I dressed my daughter. I just know she's a tomboy. But he came in and then he was mad. And so once again, Delicia, she was like, Miss Gray, the boy spit on him. I said, oh,
Ooh,
So I stopped
that's
the
the
bus.
lowest.
I said, so what are you doing in your position to stop this?
Mm.
I said, because now he didn't spit on my son. This is going too far. So I said, I need you to do me a favor. You need to go contact that parent, and you need to counsel that parent because the next time I'm gonna be at the parent's door.
Mm.
Now this is before I actually had a full change, y'all. So
Work in progress.
yes, I was married at the time, but I told Kayvon this time when he came in, I said, I tell you what. I said, if you come back here crying one more time, if I hit this boy and hit you and you didn't do nothing, I said, because what did you do when he hit you? Nothing. Wrong answer.
Mm.
So I told him, I said, I tell you what, let the boy hit you again and you don't do nothing.
Mm.
I said, I'm going to fight you.
Church.
So it was no sooner than the next day, here comes Alicia running up the driveway. Miss Gray. He came up, beat him up. He said, I sure did. I won't get no whooping from my mama. I don't think so.
That's them extension cord co-hanging switch
Yeah.
days.
But with my kids, I really didn't have to put my hands on them because it was just the fact that I could just look at them a certain way or I just do like this.
Mm.
I was married at the time, but then when I became a single parent, it was hard for me raising, two kids by myself at the time. That was before I had my baby boy. And, I thought it'd be hard to raise a boy, but I'm going to say honestly, that's not always true because it was harder for me to raise my daughter than it was for my sons. And I guess because in the book, sometimes it's like the sons, they're more for their mother.
Yeah.
So
Always.
my sons were more protective of me than anything. I could look at them and they won't say nothing, or I could just like, all right, mom. But then my daughter, that was a challenger. I prayed many times that my daughter did not turn out like I used to
I was
be.
gonna say she was gonna be your twin. That's why
But
y'all was bumping heads. She was just like
Lottie, because I mean the way on situations where the boys would just walk away, she would just like this. I said, "Be quiet," and I'm like, and then we had to go to the boxing ring one time. We showed it because I always told my kids, if you ever feel like you could whoop my behind, we're going in the backyard.
oh yeah, yeah. I done been there. But see, my father, like me and my brother, three, what's up? Shout out. I know you watching. Uh with me and my brother, we got to that point to where we got so solid and thought we were gonna do what we wanted to do. And it was an incident, I'll never forget it, where he actually challenged us to challenge him.
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't gonna get into the details, but he's
Right.
still in front of us. He stood in front of us. He's like, hey, and if you think that you're gonna do X, Y, and Z,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z to you before you can even get your hands on the type situation.
Right. Right.
And I looked at my brother, he looked at me, we looked at him. You talking about cold froze. My father was the man,
Right.
but
Right.
he also was that man where he knew we were involved. And to this day, he's still one of my bestest friends. I love him to
Right.
death. And he was always on us about any and everything to
Mm-hmm.
keep us off that path because
Right.
I should have been locked up in the graveyard a long time ago.
I hear
And
you.
that's facts.
I hear you.
I should have been locked up and dead a long time ago. And because of him and many other experiences in life, I'm happy to see I beat a statistic because
Right.
my generation, you were lucky if you made it to 40.
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
42.
Yeah.
So I at least beat that statistic. Now I don't know if the 60s is coming, but but when he really, really needed to be there for me, he
Right.
was. Like I had made a mistake in high school.
Mhm.
And I know Mike gonna say, I remember this, but I was bragging. I
Mhm.
had this pistol, brand new 380 caliber, the whole 9 yards. Well, the way I acquired it was
Mhm.
not the right way, nor was it legal.
Right.
So a acquaintance of ours got kind of jealous because I wouldn't let him hold it and stuff like that, and he snitched me out. I
Mhm.
remember we was in gym class, swim class,
Mhm.
and I dove in the water because experienced swimmers, we didn't have to learn nothing. We was
Right.
tumbling and things like that, and he turns around
Mhm.
and I came up. City Police Department had their guns drawn on me.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm coming out the water like,
What in the
whoa.
world?
They wouldn't even let me get my clothes on. They locked me up with my swim trunks on. Went straight to that locker,
Wow.
popped that locker open, showed up, fully loaded 380 caliber because it was some threats on my life.
Right.
And back then we were all gang banging.
Mhm.
And those threats needed to be taken seriously because the people that were making the threats were known to be shooters.
Right.
Well, you know what? So were we.
Mhm.
So we took them serious. But I remember getting locked up in juvenile.
Mhm.
And every time they would let him, my dad would come. And
Mhm.
I remember I was crying, man. I was a freshman in high school. I was crying like, Pop, get me out of here. And he
Mhm.
told me then, you made your choice and things like that. But he was supportive and he came and he did what he could to get me what I needed to get up out of there.
Right.
And I never forgot that. He might think I did, but it's a laundry list of
Mm.
things that has happened to me that I looked and in my corner, he never judged me right or wrong. He only tried to steer me the right way. And I'll never be able to repay
That's a
that.
good father.
I
That's a
never
good
be able to
father.
repay that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say hello, Miss Elder James Lockhart. Thank you for tuning in.
He said, "Yep, I sure do. I told you Mike was gonna reach out."
Hey, Mike. And Oscar Johnson, thank you for tuning in. DJ Acosta, thank you for tuning in. Bubba David Johnson, but also it's how you said and use that word, what's up?
What it
Calvin,
do?
right? Calvin C. Young, Dion Mathis, hey baby, thank you for tuning in. Albert Dillard, Lewis Johnson, Oscar Johnson.
Stephanie on there too.
Yeah, yeah, Stephanie. We got this, Oscar. Thank you. Uh, on number, what we're going to get to now is, for starters, our society tends to instill in people that it's not even possible, let alone a desirable state to be in. Adding in the fact that it often takes the form of cheating, along with the possibility that if either person knew about the other, the whole thing would come crashing down, and you're likely left with a stressed out person. What does being in love with two people say about that person?
Honestly, in my opinion, being in love with two people, what does it say about that person? It says that there's a problem that you haven't recognized.
Right.
Because the minute that position and that situation presented itself, you should have known and had enough maturity and a knowledge to know, wait a minute, I don't need to put myself in that manipulating situation.
Right.
Because then you put yourself in a situation where you're gonna get hurt,
Mm.
both women are gonna get hurt, or both men,
Right.
and that could be potentially dangerous because like you mentioned, certain things don't come out. Like you sent a shout out to your girl from the Bronx,
Right.
that doesn't manifest until that anger comes out.
Right.
My ex-wife, for instance,
Mm.
I would have laid hands down bet my life that she would never do some of the things that over the last 10 plus years that I've noticed her to do. And you couldn't have never told me she ever in her life would have done that.
Right.
I'd have staked my life on it. But hurt and pain, male or female,
Mm-hmm.
changes a person.
Right.
And for men, unfortunately, we are the less rational ones
Right.
because it's in us to be protective and be defensive.
Right.
So you potentially are risking your life when you take that circumstance and situation. But nowadays, women are just as outspoken.
Yeah.
Think she not gonna pull up on you with that thing if
Uh-uh.
it
Uh-uh. They even writing it in a song now.
hey.
I'll bash your windows.
Look,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, they ain't not playing
And they
now.
doing worse than that. Come on, your
Mm.
job, the whole nine
Oh
yards.
yeah,
And
times are not like it used to
and
be.
like I said, I had that situation in my younger life
Mm-hmm.
many years ago, y'all. Let me elaborate on that. Many years ago, but I had that situation, and the only way that I got out of it,
Mm-hmm.
somebody moved.
Right, right,
Somebody moved. So then I got a reprieve on that because they moved. So
right,
yes, I was happy about the move because it was a weight lifted off me because I actually juggled both hats.
right.
And it that was a bad situation because
Wow.
both were needy.
Right.
So it's yeah, I'm working late. I gotta man,
Mm-mm.
you couldn't pay me.
No, no. I hear that. I hear that. You might feel compelled to tell both people about your feelings, to break up with your current partner, or to begin an affair with a newer one, all of which are likely to have unpleasant consequences for that person and the other two people. What should you do if you're in love with two different people?
You got to figure it out. You really got to do some. First of all, I'm gonna tell you flat out. Pray on it
Yeah,
because the devil's busy.
right,
The devil's real busy. So you pray on it first and you wait on that answer and that response because you've dropped the ball somewhere. You've either led somebody on
right.
or you've been led on because
Mm,
what you want ain't necessarily what's good for you.
exactly.
But you've also opened the door to a whole barrage of problems and issues and incidents that can hurt you. What if they got kids? What if you close to their kids?
Right.
You are affecting so many different people by
Exactly.
putting yourself in that position. So I would say it's better for someone if you're feeling like that towards two people, you need to be honest and open with it if you're not in a relationship. If
Right.
you're in a relationship, you need to pretty much figure it out. Like, do you really want to involve yourself in this other situation? You got to weigh your options
Right.
because, again, it's not only just it's cheaper to keep a type thing, it's more of a situation where you've opened yourself to a different door somewhere and
Right.
you open Pandora's box, you can't close it.
Right.
The end result and effects are going to be bad all around.
Yeah,
So
true.
it's best to just say, hey, you know what? Even if you want to let that person know, I felt this type of way and
Mm,
I thought that you should know about it.
right.
But at the same time, I have a home, I have a family, I have a wife, I have a husband,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to hold it down and take care of my family. Maybe in a former life, it could have been something, but you
Right.
need to cut it off right then and there.
Right. Do you feel that it could be an illness within a person to where they're not satisfied with one person to where they're going off having an affair and getting intimate with another person to where they're falling into where they end up being in love with two people?
Do I think that it could be an illness?
Yeah.
Of course I do.
Yeah.
It's called greed.
Yes.
Seven deadly sin.
Yes.
It's greed. You're being greedy. You
Exactly.
have everything that you want and need. God provided you with that.
Yes.
And you want more, which
Mm.
means your appetite will never be filled.
You're right.
You're going to go from her to her or him to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then something else is going to come along. And the whole time, you're a puppet.
Right.
The
But to
devil's
live
pulling the
two different
strings.
lives, I mean, I could never balance that out. That's too much stress for me. I got enough on my hands as it is with my kids and running a business and everything. But my thing is it's got to drive you crazy when you sit up and you're trying to please both of them at the same time, so that neither one of them will even get a clue or feel that okay, there's somebody else here.
It's called, I give you an example. It's having a certain type of swag.
Right.
You know, I actually ran when I was younger. When it involved women, I ran so much game
Mm-hmm.
that it became a part of a personality. It
Right.
became my personality. So people will approach me, females that I was interested in, and be like, "Boy, you're not doing nothing but running game." And
Mm-hmm.
what I used to tell them, "Baby, if I was running game, you couldn't handle it."
Mm.
Because I didn't feel like I was running game and I wasn't putting no effort. So if
Right.
you think I'm putting effort into it right now, imagine what would happen if I did put effort into it.
Right.
You'd be messed up in the head. And the
Right.
females and the males nowadays, it's dwindled down. It's
Mm.
not because it's easy to recognize BS right off the bat.
Right.
And I see you, Mike Bain. He say you want that cake and eat it too. And that's
Exactly.
what it is. And you're being, like I said before, it's only two types of men that
Mm.
cheat. and you're being greedy because it's being offered to you.
Mm.
But that temptress or tempter
Mm.
is what will get you caught up.
Yeah, but see, I also look at it too as you're not thinking that you're juggling two different emotions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when everything do come to head, you're thinking about yourself for one.
Oh yeah.
You're not thinking about how you're affecting these women or these two men. So to me, you're playing games as a child.
You are. You are. And when you a child, you play with childish things. When you become a man, you put away childish things.
Exactly.
So they're not being men or women about what they're doing, but believe it or not, it's unheard of as much and it's not spoken on. But a lot of these triangles like that go on.
Right.
And I personally know people that have been in these situations. The two men, for example,
Mm.
don't want to let that woman go.
Right.
So they know what she's doing
Mhm.
and they allow her to continue to do it.
Right.
And because they don't want to let her go either.
Mm.
So that means they got a serious hold on you. You with a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and
Mm.
Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday is your day, and then
Right.
Sunday for the kids. It's like, wow.
Mm.
But it's sociologically become acceptable,
Right.
and it's no different. I mean, it's nowadays, like, first of all, when I moved here, this is the first time I ever seen so much bisexuality and so many different things. I was mind boggled with it. But there are people out there right now that are caught up between two.
Yeah.
And people ask the question, well, is it cheating if my girl has a girl and I'm okay? Yeah, it's cheating.
It's
It
cheating
doesn't
anytime you go outside of me.
exactly.
I don't
But
care if it's
they're
woman,
okay
if
with
it's
that.
man, you're cheating.
Exactly. But they're
Anytime you
okay with that.
touching somebody
Exactly.
and then you're intimate with them, you're cheating because all that you put into that other person should be going into that one person
But see, that's what people don't
that you
understand.
chose.
Exactly. But people don't understand that. And I don't know what nobody else's beliefs are, but I'm going to tell you what mine are. Biblically speaking, once you give yourself to another, you
Mhm.
have a connection and a bond to that person.
Exactly.
And a lot of people don't realize until they're down the line and they figure out, you must have known it was ESP. You knew I was going to call because I was just going to call you. No, you're synced to that person.
Right.
So eventually, and they call it 9 days, still woman's intuition. For
Right.
men, this is for you because it's real. It's women's intuition. If she's feeling like you doing stuff, that's what's making her want to check your phone and everything else.
That's too much work. I don't do that no more. I go to God.
Look, you say no more.
No more. I'm 49 years old, knocking on 50. I don't have time to be chasing you down, looking in your phone, doing I spy. I am no longer a
I know,
detective.
right? Big
So what I
baby.
do now, just like with my last situation, I just went to God. When I got that feeling, and it's like in my gut, like something ain't right. I feel this, I feel that, and I just went to God. I'm like, Lord, I tell you what, I can't do this no more. I can't deal with these feelings. The feeling like I'm not the only one. So I need for you to unfold it. No matter how bad it hurt, let it all unfold.
That's a heck of a
And I'm gonna tell
request.
you, it hurt really bad, but it just fell like dominoes. Even though he
Corona.
just even though he just disappeared before I got to work, before I got home from work, didn't know what went on. It wasn't no argument. It wasn't no confrontation, nothing like that. Fellas, in my mind, we're still getting married, still making plans, doing talking and everything. 8 months from the wedding. And he just disappeared.
Stephanie say that spicy. I don't want to play detective.
I know that's right. No, that's too
No,
much work. That's too
but
much
see,
work.
that goes back to the saying too. If you're looking for something, you're gonna find it. And I never really understood that. Oh, well, checking through my phone, well, you're gonna find something, I'm sure. You know
Right.
why you're gonna find something? Because it's already in your mind that it's something there. So you're
Exactly.
seeing something for more than what it really
Right.
is. And that's where a lot of us get caught up. I've been down that phase too. And you know what? You end up making, you know, a donkey out of yourself
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, now you show colors of anger and things like that person may have never seen before. So it's rage and furious anger and the
Yeah.
whole nine
And I
yards.
mean, a lot
And
of
it was
people was
nothing even
like that.
there.
They was like, "Well, I'm surprised you didn't do this. I know the old person. Yeah, that is the old person." But when I did see him, I just looked at him because my thing is when you learn, ladies, when y'all learn to leave things, stop bashing out windows, start slicing tires. And I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I'm an angel because it can't cross my mind. It did. You know, I'm out of $6,000. I'm stuck with a wedding dress. You know what I'm saying? But when I did see him, all he could do was just look at me like, some type of remorse, I want to say, all I could do is just look at him. I'm not going to react. The old Spicy back in the day would have reacted totally different. But see, I've matured. I realize what is better for me. And that's to let my father deal with it. Because when he deal with it, it's a lot better.
And he a vengeful one. But
And my thing is, I'm happy. Things are happening better. And that's what
man,
women don't understand. Don't take things in your own hands. Because when you take things in your own hands, you still end up losing. You lose. You might say, "Oh yeah, I didn't did this to him. I went and chased this girl down because he moved in with this girl and she pregnant." You're not winning. You're making yourself look bad. You don't look like a woman.
I never understood that.
And my thing is, if you're putting that much energy in trying to hurt this man and trying to destroy him, especially on Facebook, you're showing you still care. Why? Just keep going on. He's going on. He's not putting no energy in you. So why are you wasting your energy?
You know what though? But if you really think about it, on the male and the female
Mhm.
spectrum, if either one had to put that much energy into the relationship, it
Mhm.
never would have went there to begin with. Something was
Exactly.
missing. And the issue with that is, and the number one cause of that is lack of communication. If
Exactly.
you're not communicating, as hurtful as it may be, look, baby, I don't like how you're doing X, Y, and Z. You need to talk about it, come to a compromise.
Right.
And y'all need to work through it and work it out.
But see, that's not always the case because even when you try to communicate, if that person has something else planned,
Mm,
they're not going to hear you. They're going to ignore you. They're not going to communicate with you. So you actually in that ring by yourself fighting.
yeah, yeah. And that's an uphill battle.
Now, my thing is, you got to realize when the relationship is over, when that person no longer communicates with you, shows that they care about and respect and value your thoughts or your emotions, it's over.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I agree with that.
It's over. There's nothing to fight because all you're going to do is end up hurting yourself.
Ain't no pain like a
Mm.
woman scorn.
Calvin C. Young Jr. says, I agree. It is possible.
Oh.
Bubba David Johnson, snitches get stitches. Uncle, I need you to calm down.
You're doing
I
those
love
too.
him.
Miss Mo Russell said, if you got my man, he was never my man. Amen on that one. And she also said, water your own garden. And if it doesn't grow, then let it go.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I am going to assist the comments at the end. I'm pretty sure other people say it. Yes, we sometimes are getting off the topic, but do remember this name of this show is the Unspoken Heart Discussion Hour. So the discussion will relate to something else off the topic as times. At times we'll go, but at the same time, this is Spicy Grace show. But I appreciate you letting us know that we are getting off the topic at time. Thank you.
But believe it or not, it actually is within topic.
It is within talk.
It is because
You got to see where exactly the ingredients are coming from
exactly.
in order to get to the icing of things.
Exactly.
But see, some people don't understand it because they just want to be at the point. You can't always get to the point if you don't know what led you up those stairs to get there. Some people don't understand that. JT, thank you for tuning in. Michael Tucker. Dornice Williams says somebody will end up getting hurt. Amen. Echo Watts says people are naturally hypocritical. Rochelle, hey baby, how you doing? That's my pretty chocolate right there. Bubba David Johnson says some things you have to let go. That's true. That's true. And I've got that talk from him many times.
That's the hardest thing to
It
do.
is hard.
The let go is the hard part.
And this is one thing people hear me say a lot, and people don't realize at times is that the strongest muscle in your body is your heart.
Man.
But it is the easiest one to break.
It is. It is.
But when it breaks, it takes a lot. It's easier said than done to say, oh, okay, dry that up. It's over. Let it go. Get over that. You got to find your own way of healing. You know you got to turn away from that. You can't make a person love you that doesn't love you. You can't make a person want you if they don't want you.
The harsh reality of that, though, is a lot of people don't really find a way to heal it all the time. Because if they did, the suicide rate for certain things
Exactly.
would
They
go
keep
down.
hanging on to that. They keep letting that hurt manifest in them and eat them up to where it end up causing them illnesses and end up giving them thoughts in their heads to where they like, look, I'm better off not being here.
Believe it or not, I've been there.
Yeah.
And to this day, and I got family watching, and it's okay because transparency is what keeps the movement of the knowledge moving. And I've had that situation happen before, early life again, back in the early 2000s. And
Mm.
I remember being in this basement, and
Mm.
I remember taking another 380 caliber,
Right.
and I actually pulled the trigger,
Mm.
and the primer didn't go off. I
Mm.
pulled the round out, looked at it, it had hit the whole 9 yards, never went off. Okay, well, maybe something wrong with it.
Right.
So I popped the round off in the basement. That one went off. The
Mm.
one that I needed didn't go off,
Mm.
but that one did. And
Right.
I knew then, okay, get your mind right. You
Right.
tripping.
Right.
And I was. As bad as it hurt,
Mm.
I knew that wasn't what was supposed to happen to
Yeah.
me. So I've been
Exactly.
elevating ever since and trying to do better ever since. But it's many people out there that, hey, it's many ways that you can go up out of here.
Well, exactly.
And that way would have been quick.
I don't know how to take this next comic. I don't know if he's being sarcastic or what, but okay. Echo Walks, thank you for tuning in. He says somebody is not getting treated like a queen or a king.
I Let me elaborate on that. You say Echo Watts.
Yes.
I got you. I got you. Okay, I agree. Because if you go back to the roots and you go back to the history of what we were supposed to be, we were always supposed to walk as kings and queens. We were
Mm.
never to be walking in the shoes that we walk now, Americanized to the way that things are. And it's just my own personal opinion. But you're absolutely correct, because if you're treating her like the queen she was born, bred, and made to be, then she's not stepping outside. If she's treating you like the king that you were born, bred, and made to be, and uplifting you, then it's a duality of an uplift. The foundation is laid and you prosper together. I hope that answers your question, my brother.
Yes. Thank you so much, Echo Wise. He said can't control the heart. The heart, no, you cannot. It's the hardest thing to control.
Man,
You probably control a puppy, but you can't control the heart.
you figure that out, let me know.
Yes. Yes. Hello, Didi Flores. Thank you for watching. Echo Watts also chimed in and said, keep up the great topics. People need to tune in. A male and a female perspective together is awesome. Thank you, love.
I love it. And Mike Beam, I see you. He posted on there. I'm glad it didn't go off. And
Yeah.
you want to hear something crazy?
Mm.
That, like I said, this is a childhood friend.
Right.
He was on tour the whole 9 yards with Nelly. We all grew up together.
Mm.
And he was on a different side of the tracks. Like I said, back in the day, we used to gang bang.
Mm-hmm.
He was on the red side, I was on the blue side.
Right.
We never broke that friendship. And any of mine, you could never run up on him, because if you did, it was a problem.
Right.
And vice versa. I was in his hood. I remember Granny House. I remember
Mm.
Murphy Lee and Keywan them being at Granny House, and
Mm.
Larry and Gwen. And guess what? We were unstoppable and untouchable because
Right.
we were still family. Yeah, this is going on, and our homeboys might have been into it together,
Mm.
but you couldn't bring that to him, and you couldn't bring it to me. And I love my brother to
That's the
death.
way it's supposed to be. That's the way. Hello, Monica Russell. Thank you for tuning in. Bubba David Johnson.
Here
Uncle
he
Bubba.
go,
My
Uncle
uncle.
Bubba. Let's get it.
It's not hard, brother. It's not hard because you don't want to let it go. That's what makes it hard. You want to remember how that person treated you so you can have something to think about.
Ooh,
Mm,
that's deep.
that is deep.
That's deep.
Stephanie Nyers, hey, how
I
you
told you she was on
doing?
here. She been sending
Gave
out
me that
shots.
purple heart. Thank you. Dre Coop says, don't be selfish in giving or receiving love.
That's what, you know what? Let's touch that, because that will fall into putting yourself in that position to be in love with two people too.
Uh-huh.
And the reason being, first of all, what you think could be love that you're receiving could be false.
Right.
But at the same time, if you don't know what it feels like to be loved, when you're
Exactly.
getting loved, you don't know that
You
that's
don't know
what you're
how to
receiving.
handle it.
And it's a reverse flip of that coin, because
Mhm.
you can't give somebody something you've never experienced. So how
Exactly.
can I give you that type of love that you want from me? But if you go down through my history and my track record of my family and my upbringing,
Mhm.
that love was not provided to me.
Exactly.
So you have to learn. It's
Mm.
always a learning. And the question is, how hard do you want it?
Exactly. And the first step in getting that is to learn how to love yourself first. Bubba David Johnson said, the past is the past. But when you meet somebody else that is good for you, you're going to treat that person wrong because of your past. Stephanie Nyan says, we may never have been given the tools necessary to love. Oscar Johnson says, love to and end up with zero.
Oh,
That's a sharp one.
that's
I felt that dart right there.
that's
I felt that.
shots fired.
Wow, Oscar. Go ahead. Stephanie Nair says soul ties are real. Yes, they are. Hello, Barbara Calloway. That's who I call Mama. Hey, how you doing?
Soul ties are real. You know what? That might be another show for another segment. Do you believe that you found your soulmate and why?
You know, you just now, Stephanie said something particular to this, almost to that before we get to the nutrition. Stephanie Nair says, "Do you know your partner's love language?"
Oh man, what y'all know about
Oh,
the five
woo!
love languages? I'm gonna tell you something,
I spoke
Stephanie.
on at the beginning of my podcasting. The five languages of love.
Mine is words of affirmation.
Oh, I gotta hear
Mine is words of affirmation. Actually, believe it or not, Stephanie, I got the CD and the book.
that.
All right.
We're going to have to research, Stephanie. We're going to research.
Church facts.
Dre Coop say no Oscar. Okay, Dre. I'm not gonna play with you no more. Okay, you have any shout outs today to anybody out there before we get to the nutrition?
I do. I want to, like I say, shout out first of all for my father, Thomas G. Baker, Lance Corporal. You know what it is, Pop. Love you always. I'm gonna shout out Mike Beam. He's always been by my side. I love you to death, my brother up in St. Louis. Shout out to all my homies in the 314. Y'all know what it is. Yes, it is me. I'm still elevated. Don't be on here trying to put out my nickname. Everybody don't need to know, but that really is before Sin City. Shout out to C Coach Authentic. You know what it is. It was part of the group I told you about back in the day. Those are actually family members of mine. Integrity Music. Shout out to Jay Shanique's Poetry Corner, Miss Lovely.
Shout out.
Shout out. I mean, if you really, really want to get on and see some of the best of both worlds and the best lives of women and men and what they're putting out of their hearts and their mind, body, spirit, definitely check that out. But also, big shout out to Miss Spicy Gray. Believe it or not, she and I kind of connected a little bit a couple of days back and collabed on a few things. And that's how I ended up here. And it's been one of the biggest blessings I've seen thus far this year. And I mean, it's just gonna keep going. It's the knowledge and the movement of the knowledge and getting the word out there, and people just knowing and understanding you're not alone, and you need to know that you're not by yourself.
Exactly. Okay, the nutrition for today is if you're if you're in love with two people at once, forgive yourself. It it simply means you're human, but it relatively indicates that two people are both meeting desires you have for a connection, love, and companionship. Yes, it's complicated, but there's no cause for shame. Instead of seeing your feelings as a manifestation of something bad within yourself, it might be a sign that you don't do intimacy well
Ooh.
and you and don't know how to negotiate the deeper parts of a relationship in order to commit in a loyalty, love, and companionship to one person. Now, before we head on out, Mr. I'm gonna say poetic. I want him to give us something to lead us out. After you see this video, if you like it and you enjoyed it, please go to YouTube to Spicy Gray channel, subscribe and like. Very, very much love. I'm gonna leave it in his hands to give us something in poetic style.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and freestyle this one right off the brain because the topic is being in love with two people. Is it possible? Yes, it is. And that's just my personal opinion. But when I gaze into the thoughts of her eyes and every essence of her breath takes me closely, I start to realize that everything that's at home might not be what's for me. So I embrace every touch and I prolong the everlasting love that I've been yearning for. Is it because she's at work with me or is it because I'm wanting more? It has nothing to do with her green eyes, the way she walks, and the stallion that she provides. It has to do with the fact that there's a problem with communication and I'm blinded, so I can't see through these eyes. I want you to know and understand that how I feel, and the man that I am, and all of these dry fallacies of the reality that I'm living, I need to support everything that's at home because that's the one that's given. So once I go ahead and step out on this dream world and stop dancing across skylines and sunsets, I realize that everything that's out here is not really for me. The grass is not green on the other side, but I need to bring it all back home to make sure that there's no such thing as the one that was next. Sin City.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm gonna read Yolanda's comment before we head out. She said, "Some people are not in love; they're just in love with what is done for them. Take that away, and true love is found."
Mm.
Drake Coop say, "I want to spit. My turn. My turn." We're gonna have you back on the show, Dre. You know that. You know that. I thank y'all for tuning in to the Unspoken Heart Show with Mr. Sin City and Spicy Gray. Tune in next Thursday as we will have Miss Princess Tierra Houston.
Oh yeah.
The topic will be America. They just don't want America to love me.
I ain't touching that.
Yeah, talking about bullying.
Tune
So
in.
she
Tune
will
in.
be here next week. So see y'all next week. Y'all have a very blessed weekend. Much love. Share the video. See you next time.